Rumour Runner. For today's topic for Rumour Runner, talking about teachers, and the video will speak for itself basically. But let's look at it. Let's dissect. Let's discuss.
I have two videos for you. The first one is a News Nation video that is talking about the teaching profession. Then I went and found a couple of articles. One was the News Nation, but I just wanted to flesh out some of the information. Now, this is very important because just like nursing, the teaching profession is under attack. And what is crazy about it, this is more women, another woman profession, and they are being targeted. And it is highly politicized, just like nursing, just like women's rights. And it just seems like a coordinated effort, and we have got to get to the bottom of this. So I want you to go ahead, watch these next two videos. Tell me what you think. Are you seeing this? Are there any other industries that you're seeing this in? And then come back at the back end and let me know what you think.
So instead of fixing the problem, y'all are gonna blackmail teachers. Okay.
Students have just started enjoying their summer break. School districts across the country are already planning for the next year. However, the teacher shortage is forcing some states to ramp up efforts to retain those who sign contracts. Stephanie Haynes joins us live in Dallas with more. Stephanie, good morning.
Hey, Kelly, good morning. This is really tricky. No school district wants any teacher to up and quit and leave them in a bind to find a new teacher for either the current school year or the next school year. So more and more states are going after teachers who break their contracts. And for instance, right here in Texas, the number of requests to either suspend or revoke the teaching certificate of certain teachers is the highest it's been in years. And in Missouri on Tuesday, 3 teachers will go before the State Board of Education to consider disciplining their license. In each of those cases, the teachers left and quit and technically broke their contract early, and the district reported them to the state board. In one instance saying, quote, contracts exist for a reason, so the district is not left scrambling to replace a teacher. One of the teachers reported she was threatened by students, and that was part of the reason why she wanted to quit. And that's unfortunately a trend that's becoming more and more common, according to the American Psychological Association. Recent data shows 1 out of every 3 teachers reported at least one incident of verbal harassment or threatening behavior by a student, and 14% reported incidents of physical violence from a student, as evidenced right here from this one case in Florida earlier this year when a student with special needs, a video shows him tackling this teacher to the ground. And critics say this will only make the problem worse.
And I don't agree with it. I think they're putting a Band-Aid on something that's hemorrhaging, and we know that never works. And it actually will backfire because you won't have people wanting to come into the profession. No one is going to sign up and say, oh, I want to go in and become a teacher and then have my license taken away.
And Kelly and Adrian, states are really working hard to try to incentivize hiring teachers, either with apprenticeship programs. In the state of Texas, you do not have to technically have a teaching certificate to be employed by a school district. And in Oklahoma, in some cases, you may not even have to have a college degree to fill certain roles. And in Arizona, you can be a teacher full-time in a classroom as long as you are enrolled in college.
There was a survey done of teachers and support staff of in the education field. Now, the sample was of nearly 15,000 people. The participants were teachers, administrators, school psychologists, and social workers. And they were asked if they were planning on quitting. Now, if you look at this graph, and this was taken after the pandemic. It was taken July 2020 to June 2021. So we were in the height of the issues that were exacerbating teaching. So at that particular point in time, nearly half of the teachers were looking to quit or plan to transfer. Nearly a third of psychologists and social workers were saying the same. 29% of support staff, I'm sure that's like janitors, bus drivers, that kind of thing, cafeteria workers, and a third or 31% of administrators. There are so many issues with this, and instead of fixing the problem, they are doing the Band-Aid where they are attempting to find teachers and that kind of thing. This graph right here talks about the various types of reasons why people are looking to leave. What kind of aggression? Student aggression, parental aggression, colleague aggression, and administration aggression. There are several reasons, lots of reasons why teachers are looking to leave the profession, not just teachers, staff, psychologists, sociologists, all of that. There are lots of reasons why. And instead of getting to the bottom of it, which could, they could get to the bottom of this a little bit more if they would actually listen to the people that are disgruntled and upset about their jobs. So you guys can look into these numbers a little bit more and see what are some of the issues that the education profession are facing today. If we want to keep teachers, if we want to keep the teaching profession going for the betterment of our society, we have got to get to the bottom, to the root causes of all of this, of these threats and these threats of violence and the issues that teachers are facing. The teaching profession seems to be in flux, and it has been so even before the pandemic, but the pandemic seems to have brought more things to the forefront. If you turn on the news, you will see articles about teacher shortages. You'll see teachers complaining about the violence and the administration not taking up for them. You'll see the school boards are coming after them and banning books. So there are a lot of things that are going on with the teacher profession. Now, some schools are trying to, or some districts are trying to fine teachers or revoke their teaching licenses. Missouri is one of those. Let's jump into this article. In Missouri, more school districts try to suspend licenses of teachers who break contracts. Teachers who quit with short notice are facing increasingly severe consequences as school districts facing staffing shortages impose financial penalties as high as $10,000 or seek to suspend teaching licenses. The number of teachers who have faced contract-related suspensions jumped during the pandemic and hit a record high of 11 this past year. Now, 11 doesn't seem particularly high, but I think that this is more of a warning to other people that might be thinking about doing the same thing. Mark Jones, who is a communication director of the Missouri National Education Association, described this as being a heavy-handed approach, and I agree with that. He continues with, it works against incentivizing people to become educators and staying educators, particularly for new educators who are not on tenure and are being asked to make these contract decisions in January or February. Now, what person that is 18 or 19 that's watching this current climate would sign up to become a teacher or use that money as far as they're going to school to go into a major for teaching? Who would do that in this current climate? So they are going to dry up their pipeline for teaching the way they are treating teachers currently. Now I want to examine a passage or a couple of passages from this News Nation article, Teachers Facing Fines and Suspended License for Quitting. This article has some overlap talking about Missouri, which I just talked about, but I want to focus on Texas. Texas had a lot going on during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, the Texas State Board for Educator Certification suspended more than 300 teaching certificates statewide for job abandonment. Now, during the pandemic, we know that Texas, a red state, wasn't really taking the pandemic seriously. So teachers must have been wanting to quit for their own health and safety reasons. Between the crazy school boards that are doing the book bannings, people that are claiming that CRT is a thing in schools, and now these teacher suspensions, who is going to want to go into the teaching profession? Who's going to choose this? You guys go ahead, jump in the comments and tell me.
All right, that was a lot to digest, but let's talk about it. What are our thoughts on that? Go ahead, Fernando.
Well, I don't think suspending the teacher's license really helps or giving them a fine. Because even if you suspend them, I mean, they quit for a reason. So you take with their license, cool. Now you have one less teacher. Either way, like the teacher might want to go to a next firm, at least the teacher will be teaching somewhere else. So all you can do as the government is like push them where the teacher is, push the students where to the school where there's abundance of teacher. Um, I don't see the sense in suspending them, as the news said. You know, it's just going to drop their pipeline. No one will want to become teachers, which I totally agree. Like, no one likes to feel like they're being held against their will. It just don't make sense.
All right, thank you very much. So, um, Ethan, you're late. The topic we're discussing is teachers. To counter of teachers leaving the job, they have started fining them or suspending their license. And teachers are leaving the job for various reasons, lack of resources and disrespect from students. So we're at the rumor runner segment. Any other take on this? Moyan, I'd love to hear from you. Spencer, Michaela, any other take?
Chuka, I just come from a group meeting, so that's why I'm just a reach. But that topic?
Yeah, that the main topic is already discussed. So we're at the rumor runner now. So if you come in from Spencer, teachers need to be paid properly. And Annette says some of these kids are the devil kids. Teacher have to deal with them. And that's unfair to try and tie them down. It's like they're saying, take the foolishness or do a degree in teaching. I don't think I understand the last part. Anyone else would like to speak on that part? Whether it's going to be opening your mic or give a comment in the comment section. What do we think? Do we think it's fair to do our educators like that? What do you think will happen to future educators? I think persons growing up, younger generation would be interested in teaching after seeing this how this is handled. Go ahead, Melo.
No, no.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna speak from my perspective as teaching, as teachers, because my mother a teacher. So my mom has been teaching home economics for, I don't know, for a long time, long time. The first school she taught I was Green and I before she moved come down Granger High. At that school, no, she wasn't being paid properly and as at a per with principal and all that thing. Just so she moved come down to school. The reason I'm saying all that is that in the long run, with these with these shortage of pay and all of that from all the schools and riots from teachers all over the island, eventually teachers are gonna get fed up with and just don't teach none at all. And the younger generation is going to see this and say, all right, if this is how the teaching job is, why since we're going to teaching job? So nobody not going to want to teach her. So eventually the country going to need the teachers, going to end up hiring teachers from overseas who going to teach out here. So that's my 2 cents on it. But we have technology have come, so eventually teaching and schooling going to cut out either way. So just see it as a easier way to get rid of it, or shorter, or no, faster way to get rid of it.
Okay, thank
I'm
you very
done.
much, Ethan. Go ahead, Melo. Let's hear from you.
I kind of forgot my main point, so bear with me. Uh, I think the way they handle teachers right now is kind of messed up because whether it's in the US or in Jamaica or pretty much anywhere else in the world, there's not much emphasis put on the importance of teachers and the amounts they're getting paid, the types of children or people in general that they have to deal with. Um, I think even one situation that teachers have to put up with right now is that newer teachers leaving college, teachers college, don't get paid for like 3 months, I think it is. So they're just working their asses off for absolutely nothing for 3 months straight. They're not able to pay their rents, they're not able to buy food for themselves. It's not a very fair situation to put them in. The entirety of the teaching system is rubbish, in my opinion. And I really think we need to put more respect on their names. See, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking out. Anything else before we move on from this segment? Going once, twice. We're moving on.